Hello and welcome to Lynchburg Live. I'm your host, Linda Smith. While we're very fortunate in the Lynchburg area to have less gang activity than you find in the larger metropolitan areas, it is here. Recently, I think in mid-December, WSET TV News did a small piece on gang activity in our area. My guest tonight is Aaron Smith. He's Targeted Outreach Director of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Lynchburg. He'll be telling us about the Targeted Outreach Program to reduce gang activity in our area. Aaron, welcome to Lynchburg Live.
Thank you very much, Linda. I appreciate it.
You know, as I just said in the opening, we are fortunate to have less gang activity here than you find in, say, Washington, D.C. or Baltimore or some of those larger areas, but it is here.
Right.
Do you have any idea what percentage?
I do. I have a few contacts in the Lynchburg City Police Department, and one of the things, when I first started this position back in the summer, they had given me some statistics about how many gang members we had in the city, which at that time was in the higher 200 range. And then actually I saw another presentation, which was about in November sometime, and that number had already went up to the mid 300s. So, and those are just the gang members that they are aware of. So we certainly do have a gang problem here in the city of Lynchburg, and while you're right, it's not necessarily like a larger metropolis, we do have that problem. On TV, you know, you'll see a lot of gun fights and things like that with gangs. While we might not be at that level yet, we certainly do have a lot of crime that is related to gang activity.
Right. I'm sorry to hear it, but we've been fortunate, really. All right, the Gang Prevention Through Targeted Outreach Program, that's a fairly new program with the local Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And as the director of that program, do you mind telling our audience why you became interested in starting the program here?
Sure. I became interested in starting that program here. I'd seen that the position posted over the summer, and I was looking for positions, and I saw the description, and I said, you know, this is a wonderful way to influence young people's lives, number one. It's a way to give back to the city. Number two, the more I got into it, the more I found out, number one, about the Boys and Girls Club, and number two, about this initiative in general. And with this initiative, as you said, it is new to our area. Our Boys and Girls Club is only 5 years old, but this initiative has been going on for a couple decades now, and it's been highly successful throughout the entire country. And they're still creating more of these gang prevention through targeted outreach programs in other clubs throughout the nation.
So you do know that it's been successful in other areas that they've tried it. That's great. All right, now your program involves schools, community leaders, law enforcement, social services, and other organizations. So it's a team effort to help these kids.
Absolutely, it has to be. You know, at the Boys and Girls Club, we see the kids a lot of times after they come from school, and a lot of times those kids stay there until the evening time, and sometimes they go home and they don't have an opportunity to you know, really be around role models or anything like that. So as a Boys and Girls Club, that's kind of where we are. We try to provide a lot of structure and stuff there, but when you talk about the school system, they see them the largest part of the day out of anybody, so they're going to be the ones with the first-hand information. Same thing with the court systems and the police. Again, with them, they see them in different aspects as well, kind of after things have happened, but again, that's where I get some of the information that I need to see, you know, these are the kids kind of that are in danger. Same thing with the social service department and the other community organizations as well, Parks and Rec. We try to partner with all these different entities so that we can collaborate, because we don't offer everything at the Boys and Girls Club, and not any one organization does. So it has to be a collaborative effort in order to fight the gangs.
I really think it's a great thing that you're doing. Who is at greatest risk of becoming a gang member? Well,
really, they're young age children, which really are like late elementary, low middle school age, which is really sad, because really by the time they reach high school, a lot of them have already kind of, you know, chosen their path. A lot of the kids that are being recruited to gangs literally are in 5th grade, 4th grade, and lower middle school the grades there. So anybody really is at risk, but those are the areas that we're kind of targeting. Make sure, again, that we're preventing those kids from going down that path.
Do you see drug involvement?
Absolutely. And when I was mentioning in the very beginning of the show about, on TV you see a lot of the gunfights and stuff like that. We have a lot of drug involvement here with our gangs. We have a lot of vandalism, a lot of other type violence, but there is a tremendous amount of drug involvement with our gangs here in Lynchburg.
That's what I was afraid of. So all of these people that you were talking about, the social services, especially the schools,
Right.
they help you identify these kids that need.
They do.
Okay. Now, they're both boys and girls in gangs. Do you find that true with
Yes.
girls too here in Lynchburg?
It is, and when I saw the statistics from the Lynchburg City Police Department, the majority of what we have here in Lynchburg are males, and again, those ages range really from young to adults, and but we do have females as well, and we do have female gangs as well, and they're involved in the same type of criminal activity that the male gangs are involved in.
It's really sad.
It is.
I mean,
It is.
because these kids have the potential to do some really great stuff.
They do.
And they just need an opportunity.
You're right, and it's one of the things that that we really try to do, because it's not just myself. I don't want to make it seem like it's just me that's reaching out to these kids. It really is a collaborative effort. But one of the biggest things is trying to show the youth that there are other ways, because a lot of this is, again, they only see one particular thing. If they
Right.
see the gang lifestyle kind of glorified in television, which you do, and on the street, which you do, then they're going to say, well, that's kind of what I want to do, But there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of other ways to be successful, and it's our job as a community in general to show those kids that there's other ways, legal ways to be successful.
I think that's good, because you are involving the community in this. What age group specifically is targeted with your program?
In my program, while at the Boys and Girls Club, I kind of direct the teen center there. The teen center at our club is from 13 to 18. But as I told you a little bit earlier, a lot of the ones that are targeted for this program specifically are a little bit younger, because, again, we're a prevention program and we're trying to stop them from becoming in gangs. So with that being said, I am looking at elementary age kids, middle school age kids, and simply because I work at the Boys and Girls Club and I'm in the teen center, I still recruit teens, and I still recruit teens to this program specifically if I feel that they're a good fit for this program.
Right. How do you recruit these kids into the program?
Just like you said, it's a collaborative effort. So I do use the school system quite a bit, since they see these kids on a everyday basis. I use the school system. I've gotten a lot of referrals from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office through juvenile justice as well, and I do personal outreach as well. And some of the parents or some of the concerned citizens that know about the program, they can directly refer a member to me.
That's what another question I was going to ask you was, can just the average person call you and refer somebody that they feel is at risk?
Absolutely. Anybody can, and that's one of the big things with this program in general, is getting the word out. So that people understand what we're trying to do here, because, again, we just started this program this past summer, and we're hoping that it can be an ongoing program, because you're not going to accomplish everything in a year. You're not going to accomplish everything in just a couple years. This needs to be something that's ongoing, that everybody, again, remains involved in, so that we can be successful in helping these kids.
Is it difficult to reach these kids? I mean, I would imagine some of them are hostile and
Yes.
difficult.
That is true. And sometimes it is. I think one of the biggest things with reaching the youth is just developing the relationship with them. I think even for me as an African American male in a lot of the kids' life, because one of the statistics that I did not mention to you is that the majority of the members that are in gangs here in the city of Lynchburg are African American. That's just how the statistics go. But me as an African American male, and being a case manager on some of these cases, I'm sometimes seen as the enemy, because in a lot of these kids' lives, they've had adult males abandon them, and things like that. And so sometimes I think that they may see me as somebody that, well, you'll be gone in just a matter of weeks or just a matter of months. Right. And so I think, again, building that relationship, building that trust, building that rapport, so that they understand, nah, I'm here for you, I'm here to help you be successful, and I'm here to stay for you. I think that's one of the biggest things. But in the beginning, certainly, it's tough. It's tough to build that relationship. And I'll say this too, is that with this program, we try to transition each targeted member in seamlessly. And at our club, we transition them in as we would any other member. So actually, none of our targeted members know that they're being targeted in this program.
Great.
It is good because we treat them exactly the way we would treat anybody else. We give them the same type services as everybody else, but we go further in depth with them.
I think I really think that that's great. And these kids, they don't know what an opportunity they're being given,
Right.
I'm sure, when they first come into this. And something you said about role models, I'm assuming that a lot of these kids are coming from single parent homes
They are.
and don't have a lot of role models.
You're right, and that's one of the biggest things, just in general for the Boys and Girls Club. That's what we do. We want to try to help the members that we have get connected with some staff members that are going to be positive role models for them. But as I said before, we don't necessarily do everything there. If we don't offer something that a targeted kid needs, I'll try to refer that member somewhere else that can basically meet that kid's needs, all the while still being involved in their life and still trying to be a role model for them. So it's a very, very, very important piece of what we're doing.
I'm sure it is, and I'm just guessing that you probably take a lot of this work home with you.
I do. And my wife, she's in the social service type field as well, and so she understands what I'm going through. So I definitely do, and it's hard sometimes. And I tell you what, the biggest thing is it's very frustrating sometimes because you said it yourself, is that sometimes they don't understand the opportunities that they've been given,
right.
Or that they have in front of them, and sometimes you see them squandering away opportunities, and you try to talk them through it and say, this is kind of what you have on your plate here, and this is what you could do with it, and then sometimes you get feedback like, I don't care, and then you continue to try to talk. But at the end of the day, the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And then that's another thing with this program is I completely understand that we're not going to save every kid. I completely understand that. But when you're passionate about what you do and you're passionate about a topic like this, you feel bad even when just somebody squanders an opportunity, let alone get involved with a gang, but even just squanders an opportunity, you feel bad.
I'm sure. Do you have any success involving the families of at-risk kids in this program?
I do actually have a lot of success with that. A lot of the times, one of the things with this in general is that I am a case manager, and I have other case managers that call the parents regularly, that visit schools and things like that. But a lot of the parents, again, just like the members themselves, aren't aware that they're actually in a program like this to divert them away from gangs, which really is, I guess it's a good and a bad thing, catch-22, because I think that if some parents knew that, I think they would take them out. Unfortunately, I think if other parents knew, they would put them in. But I think a lot of the parents that I've come in contact actually have been very receptive. And I think it's funny because with this program, and being that the parents don't necessarily know that their kids are in a program, I think sometimes they think that I'm just an overly concerned Boys and Girls Club worker, you know what I mean, that calls, oh, so-and-so hasn't showed up the past couple days, are they okay, where have they been? And, I think sometimes they're just like, well, wow, why are they calling and worried about them? But I am,
but
and
you are concerned, right? What kind of activities do you offer that discourage gang involvement?
Anything that will keep the kids off the street. I know at the Boys and Girls Club, like I said before, we offer a lot of structured activity in general. We do a lot of after-school type homework stuff. Our kids are really involved in a lot of athletic, recreational type things. We also do a lot of arts and crafts. We do job skills. We do anything really that they're interested in. I know just for example, a lot of the younger kids, you can keep them there all day. You can keep them at the Boys and Girls Club all day because they just run around and just have a good time. Some of the older ones who are in the prevention program, it gets a little bit trickier, but that's, again, where kind of the case management comes in, because we find out what their interests are, we find out what their needs are, and myself and the case manager will try to come up with the programs that will help keep that member at our club, or at least involved in another organization that's going to keep them off the street, or at least keep their mind somewhere else, so that when they do go home, or when it is the weekend and there's not necessarily an activity to go around, they're waiting for the next time that they can come to that organization.
So it really is more difficult to reach an older child.
It is.
I'm sure.
It is.
As with any young child, putting them in school, teaching them, they're more receptive.
It is, and at that point, really, it's more intervention or suppression, which I'm not capable of handling at this point, and that's what some of the other organizations are for, which is why we're tied in with some of the other organizations as well. But even with some of the older members that we have, I think that again, if you build that relationship, and if you can build that rapport, and they trust you, you can do wonders with that.
Work miracles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. I hate to get into money, but I have to ask
Right.
you, how is your program funded?
We're funded through the Office of the Commonwealth Attorney was awarded a grant through the Virginia Justice Department, and it's called the BURN JAG, and it's BURN and it's Justice Assistance Program, and we're specifically aiming at education and prevention. So that's exactly what we're doing. Like I said before, we take education very seriously at the Boys and Girls Club, but not only that, it's also a part of the grant, and again, the prevention piece. So we're not doing intervention. We're really trying to help those kids that look like they may be on the path to joining a gang, and we have a lot of those at-risk factors. We know what those are statistically, that would have a youth get ready to cross over into a gang.
All right. You brought some pictures.
I have.
Phil, if you'll put the pictures up on the screen, we'll get Aaron to tell us what they are.
Here we have a gentleman and a member at our club doing some of the homework that I was talking about. We have a program that we call Power Hour that we spend an hour after school doing homework. And we have many volunteers that come down to help out. And it's really nice, and I completely understand that an hour sometimes isn't enough to get your homework done, especially when you get up into the higher grades. But it is it's a structured time that people come down to help out, and volunteer. And again, that's getting the community involved to come down to help our kids.
I think that's great that that you do have volunteers who are willing to help these kids.
Here we did a tennis tournament for our Boys and Girls Club that was over the summer. It was this past summer. And here you see our instructor teaching one of our kids basically how to play tennis. As I said before, one of the big things that we do is we try to match their interests and their needs up. And if we have a kid tell us that he's interested in playing tennis, we'll do everything that we can do to find a match, get him at the tennis club.
Great.
This is another picture from that tennis tournament that we had, and those are just a few of our members there posing and smiling, and some of them are smiling, but they had a good time. And this is another interest-based program. Again, we went to a Hillcats game this past summer, and this is one of our members with one of the players on the Hillcats team, and we really try to do a lot of this with our kids, because especially with our older kids like this young lady here, we completely understand that we have to have something that's going to keep them at our club. And so, for example, we partnered with so many awesome people that we are going to Virginia Tech actually tomorrow to see a basketball game. We've actually been to a couple Virginia Tech football games. We take field trips to other colleges and things like that. We do swimming lessons. We do all kinds of things in general that we know are going to keep our kids involved and keep them at the club, so that we can mold their minds.
Plus, it introduces them to other ways, other things that are out there that are fun and legal, and
You're exactly right.
something that they may be interested in later on down the road.
You're exactly right, because that is one of the big things too, is that a lot of the kids, and this really can go for any area across the country, but sometimes you have a lot of kids that haven't necessarily been really outside their area in general. You know, they live in Lynchburg, all their family is in Lynchburg. Lynchburg is where they're planning on being, but if you expose them to different just different experiences in general, you know, that can open their eyes to, wow, there really is so much more than just what I see, just my block and my neighborhood. And that's really exciting, because that's one of the things that I'm really trying to get together to. Actually, remember I told you before, we have a lot of our kids are into the recreation thing. We're going to Virginia Beach to play a basketball game there. And one of the things I'm really trying to put together is a trip for a conference down to Orlando. So that would really be big for our kids to see, just a whole nother state, a whole nother city, and what that lifestyle is like.
Expand their horizons.
Absolutely. Here we have some trophies. We do award presentations as well. We give incentives and prizes for, you know, those members who are doing well. Because again, with young kids or old kids alike, adults, everybody likes getting things. Everybody likes to get things.
And being recognized for what they do well.
Exactly. And so we really try to find just about anything to be able to recognize our members for if they're doing positive things, whether that's in school, whether that's at the club, or whether that's out socially, community service-wise. And so there you just have different trophies and different awards that we had for a particular award ceremony. This picture was taken, we also tried, like I said before, we were taking a trip down to Virginia Beach, but this was actually taken at a beach as well. And this is one of our team members here too. And whenever you mention, you know, that we're getting ready to go somewhere for a trip or something like that, you know, they really jump on that. So they really enjoy that. This is another picture that was taken this past summer. But again, one of the main themes here is we try to do the things that are going to keep them coming, keep them interested, so that we can spend as much time with them as possible. This is a pair of our teams, actually, and their sisters, and they're just showing their affection for each other. And they really do have a good time down at the club, and we really try to do a lot of different things for them. But I like this picture.
I like that picture.
And ultimately, that's what we aspire to be down at our club, which is great. And that's an older picture, because our building was recently remodeled by Frito-Lay, and they actually did some things with this outside mural. But ultimately, we aspire for our kids at our club to be great. And even though, you know, I'm doing targeted outreach, once those outreach kids become members, or even if they don't become members, I still want them to ultimately be great. That's what we're all about.
Right. I think maybe that's all the pictures. Yeah. Is there interaction and participation with the school systems? How do they tell you that they've got a kid?
I have a pretty good relationship right now with the truancy department in our for Lynchburg City Schools here. We met with, and when I say we, a couple of our steering committee members and my executive director, Mark Sheehan. We met with the superintendent in Lynchburg City Schools, and he knows about the program and is on board. And my contact person in the truancy office, Ann Bond Gentry, she has been awesome, and all the truancy folks there have been very, very open and receptive. And we're in constant conversation about kids that they believe might be at risk, because I think that's a great team to be connected with, because they're in each and every school, you know, in the Lynchburg City area. And we don't just necessarily cover Lynchburg City schools, we also do the surrounding counties and stuff. But again, since this program just started, trying to start here right in the city first, and then we'll expand as necessary. But through the schools, they're one of our biggest referral sources.
Okay. We only have about 3 minutes.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, since I have a lot of questions to ask you, is how do you become involved with this if you want to be a volunteer, or if you want to participate in working for Boys and Girls Clubs?
Sure. Anybody can come down to volunteer and come down to the Boys and Girls Club just simply by giving us a call and saying, I really would like to volunteer. And we can explain to you the hours and, you know, the kinds of things that we have to offer as far as volunteering opportunities. But if anybody wants to be also involved in the program, the Targeted Outreach Program, that's the same thing. All they have to do is call me. We talked a little bit earlier about can anybody refer? Absolutely. And that's why I was so excited to be requested to come onto your show, because this is a good way to get out our information about what we're doing, because really it's not about the Boys and Girls Club, it's not about the Office of Commonwealth Attorney, it's about our youth, and it's about our city and trying to get rid of the gangs.
Right. Okay, do you have a website, or are you part of the website now?
We do have a website, the Lynchburg Boys and Girls Club does, and it's www.bgclynchburg.org, and there you can find all the information to contact myself or just to contact the club about volunteering opportunities.
Okay. And tell me one more time, how long has this program been up and running in Lynchburg?
The program here in Lynchburg has only been up and running since July, and this grant was structured for 1 year with the possible, depending on how we do, because we do have goals and targets to reach, depending on how we do, it can be renewed. And my hope is that, again, that we can have this renewed and that this can be a constant initiative that we're doing, because, again, not everything is going to be solved in a year, and it's just too big of an effort for everybody to, you know, have it crumble in a year. So I'm doing the best that I can.
Good. Is it looking good?
It's looking good so far.
Great. Aaron, I thank you so much for being my guest and for bringing this information to Lynchburg. And I know that there's so much concern about gang activity, and it's good to know that there's somebody out there who's really trying to do something about this.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful evening and a very happy new year. Good night.